Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. To our distinguished guests and visitors, it's my pleasure to officially welcome you to the 183rd Fighter Wing Ribbon Cutting Ceremony and Facility Tour. I'm Captain Stephen Ummerzat, and I have the privilege of being your Master of Ceremonies for today's events. At this time, if you'd be so kind as to silence your cell phones for the remainder of the ceremony, we would greatly appreciate your cooperation. Our official party for today's ceremonies include the Honorable Richard Durbin, United States Senator and Senate Majority Whip. The Honorable Aaron Schock, United States Representative, 18th Congressional District. The Honorable Rodney Davis, United States Representative, 13th Congressional District. The Lieutenant Governor of Illinois, the Honorable Sheila Simon. The Mayor of Springfield, the Honorable J. Michael Houston. The Adjutant General of the State of Illinois, Brigadier General Daniel Crumroy. And the Commander of the 183rd Fighter Wing, Colonel Ron Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of the colors and the singing of our national anthem. Military members should render proper customs and courtesies. Civilians customarily place their right hand over their heart. Our national anthem is performed today by Second Lieutenant Leah Bryant. Our color guard is led by Master Sergeant Jennifer Wiedekamp, and our commander of troops is Major Brian Hodge.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang loud, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We invite our chaplain, Father Jeffrey Leibel, to invoke his blessings on our event today. Father.
Let us pray. Creator God, you took great delight in calling forth this world out of nothing, in making it a place of order, form, and beauty. In forming us after your own image, you have instilled within us a desire to build and to be creative as well. Today we are assembled to dedicate the air operations, communications, and security forces facilities to the cause of peace. We thank you for their completion and pray that those who were so diligent in building and renovations will know the gratitude of those who work within their walls. Thank you for these symbols of freedom. May they serve always to remind us that our duty is to achieve excellence, and our call is to be found vigilant and faithful in our walk with you. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Good afternoon. Again, we welcome you to the 183rd Fighter Wing. Before we hear remarks from our members of the official party, we'd like to acknowledge some of our special guests in attendance today. It's our honor to host State Representative Rich Brower from the 87th Legislative District. From the 98th Legislative District, State Representative Wayne Rosenthal. Mr. Sergio Pecora serves as an advisor to the Secretary of Defense as a member of the Reserve Forces Policy Board. He's also President and CEO of Hanson Professional Services. We also have with us today Dr. Michael Ayers, Civilian Aide to the Secretary of the Army and Director of Employer Outreach for Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve in Illinois. We're pleased to have Mr. Jim Good, representing the Sangamon County Board, as well as two board members, Mr. George Preckwinkle and Mr. Todd Smith. Senator Mark Kirk could not be with us today, but we're pleased to have his representative, Mr. Randy Pollard. Brigadier General Select Clay Mouchon, the Illinois Air National Guard Chief of Staff, is in attendance as well. Of course, we also want to thank the many contractors, subcontractors, and businesses and community leaders who are here to support the 183rd Fighter Wing. We're extremely grateful for your support. We'll now hear remarks from the members of our official party. It's our distinct pleasure to introduce U.S. Senator Richard Durbin. In addition to being the state senator's senior senator, he's also the assistant majority leader and chairman of the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee. Senator Durbin is a well-known supporter of military service members, veterans, and their families. Early in the Iraq War, he was successfully increased combat pay and family separation pay. Later, he introduced legislation that provided support to caregivers of severely injured service members, and he has enacted specific legislation that protects National Guardsmen from financial crisis while deployed. Most recently, he sponsored the Welcome Home GI Bill. This bill gives returning veterans assistance with home purchases, health care, jobs, and of course, education. Senator Durbin was elected to the Senate in 1996 after serving in the United States House of Representatives for 6 Congresses. He's also a member of the Senate Judiciary, Foreign Relations, and the Rules Committees. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Richard Durbin.
Thank you for that kind introduction, and I want to acknowledge my colleagues in office, Lieutenant Governor Simon, as well as Congressman Schock, Congressman Davis, Representative Breyer, and Representative Rosenthal. Thank you for being here today, along with our other honored guest. I'm very proud to join Brigadier General Krumrie and the members of the 183rd Air Guard today for the ribbon cutting that's been long in the making. I also want to acknowledge that there's been a lot of effort behind the scenes to make this day a reality, and I want to thank all of the men and women in the Guard, as well as their families, for standing so strongly during this important transition. The turnout is strong evidence of how important the 183rd and the National Guard is to our state, to our nation, and as Mayor Houston knows, to our city of Springfield. Today's ceremony is more than a ribbon cutting. It's about a bright future. It's a future earned day in and day out by the men and women of the 183rd. Some of us in the general public might not understand what air operations support means to our military. It's the behind-the-scenes mission. But it's no small task to be in charge of planning and managing complex air campaigns. It takes training and dedication and skill. As chairman of the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee, I know how critical this job is to the success of our Air Force and to the U.S. military every day around the world. Whether in Libya or Afghanistan, Europe or Asia, air operations are critical. So you rose to the challenge, and you've outperformed every time. You were in Chicago when it hosted the NATO summit. You've conducted training exercises with the U.S. Africa Command, and earlier this year in the Pacific with South Korea. Your engineers have deployed to Afghanistan. Members of your medical group have been recognized as some of the best in the nation. And as citizen airmen, you've been there for your friends and neighbors when natural disasters strike close to home. Today's ribbon cutting is about supporting this good work. These new facilities will allow you even better opportunities for training and more ability to continue your track record of success. It will also allow the 183rd to keep growing. Cybersecurity, intelligence support, and remotely piloted aircraft are enduring missions, just like air operations. This facility will let this unit grow as America's military defense grows. This fact is not lost on the Air Force. I make sure it's not lost on the Air Force. Air Force Chief of Staff General Welsh, National Guard Bureau Chief General Grass have heard you loud and clear, from Springfield to Washington. They too appreciate your dedication. So congratulations on this new facility, and on behalf of a grateful state and nation, thank you so much for your service to your fellow citizens.
Thank you, Senator Durbin. It is my pleasure to introduce Congressman Aaron Schock from the 18th District in Illinois. Congressman Schock serves on the House Ways and Means Committee, including subcommittees on trade, select revenue measures, and Social Security. Congressman Schock was elected to the House in 2009. A young entrepreneur himself, Congressman Schock wants to see more veterans open small businesses and introduce a bill that would discount their franchise fees. He also co-authored the Veterans Access to Health Care Amendment, allowing veterans in rural areas to be treated at non-VA providers. He serves on the Committee on House Administration and is also a Deputy Republican Whip. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Schock.
Well, good afternoon. I too wish to offer my congratulations and pleased to be here at today's ribbon cutting. The ribbon cutting really is a celebration and recognition of the completion on the upgrade of these 4 buildings. It's a sign of the belief that the federal government has in the people in this facility and the great work that you do to support the military operations that we do around the globe. But it's also a ribbon cutting that celebrates the future. Future opportunities that this congressional delegation in a bipartisan way looks forward to working together to advocate for the 183rd out in Washington, D.C. to make sure that our military commanders but also our appropriators understand the importance of what happens at this base and that we make sure that this base continues to remain strong and growing. Whether it be the engines that we see in this facility, in this particular building, that get maintained and upgraded as a part of our flying fleet, or whether it be other critical missions that this Air Guard supports. Critical missions much closer to home, right here in central Illinois, be it responding to flooding up and down the Mississippi River, whether it be dealing with the oil disaster in the Gulf. Your support and what you do is important to the American people, both in what we do in supporting our friends and allies around the world, but also our friends and neighbors here at home. So know that we are committed to continue to be your advocate out in Washington, D.C. I'm pleased that we could all be here today for the ribbon cutting, but really this is a recognition of what you've already done to instill the confidence among all of us out in Washington to invest this kind of money here in the 183rd to upgrade these facilities. Keep up the good work, and I look forward to continuing to be your advocate out in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Schock. We also have the honor of hosting Congressman Rodney Davis. He was elected to the House in 2013 and has been very busy working on behalf of military members and veterans ever since. He successfully sponsored the Veterans Emergency Medical Technician Support Act of 2013. This act streamlines licensing for military EMTs entering the civilian EMT field. Most recently, he authored legislation that provided incentives to small businesses for hiring veterans. The Hire More Heroes Act was overwhelmingly approved by the House. Congressman Davis serves on the House committees on agricultural and transportation and infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Davis.
Thank you very much. I'm honored and I'm humbled to be here. Colonel Paul, thank you for your hospitality. This is a great day. I actually had a very prepared speech to give, but I felt kind of bad for Senator Durbin when he walked in without one. So you delivered it well, sir. Great job. Kidding, of course. It's an honor actually to serve with Senator Durbin and Congressman Schock because, as you can see, this isn't a Republican or a Democrat building. It's not a partisan building. It's a building that's built through success of working together as not only political leaders, but military leaders and community leaders. And the success today and the celebration today is most honoring because of the men and women who are all throughout this room that work in this building every day, who have been asked, may be asked, could be asked to risk their life in defense of this great nation. It's an experience to be able to serve you in Washington that all of us take very seriously every day, and it means working together to not only look back at history in regards to the 183rd, but looking ahead to the future. And speaking of history, I want to honor two gentlemen whom I worked closely with, one even more closely because he was my boss, Congressman John Shimkus and Congressman Ray LaHood. I remember working with many of you in this room when we saw the down times of the 183rd when the F-16s were taken away and wondered what the future would look like. Well, through the hard work of those two and all of you and everyone in this room and those who served in the military before you, we now see the fruits of their success and your success. And because of that, I want to say thank you for all you've done and congratulations for all you're going to be able to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Davis. We are pleased to have with us today Lieutenant Governor Sheila Simon. Lieutenant Governor Simon came to office in 2011. She is the chairman of the Interagency Military Base Support and Economic Development Committee, which coordinates activities and communications on behalf of military installations in Illinois. She has coordinated the Illinois Congressional Delegation effort towards greater involvement in the U.S. House Defense Communities Caucus, a unified bipartisan group that supports military installations. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Sheila Simon.
Thank you. It is a real pleasure to be here with everyone, Congressman and Senator Durbin particularly. I want to thank you for what you have done to support military efforts that are focused in the state of Illinois and across the nation. I have to say, though, it's a little bit intimidating to be in front of this enormous flag. This is not something I do every day of the week. And it's inspirational to think of how, in one way or another, all of us as citizens are standing in front of that flag. Some of us get the credit for being public servants and get to sit in the cushy chairs. The rest of you who are standing up in the back are the ones that I really want to say thank you to for what you do that really very physically puts you in the way and keeps us protected as a nation. I'm pleased to be here because of what this facility means for our national security. I'm pleased to be here because of what this facility means for our state and our security of our citizens here. I'm also pleased to be here because of what this facility represents for the economy of the state of Illinois. So it's a big thrill. I want to thank all those who helped to build and reconstruct these facilities, but most especially I want to thank those who will continue to serve here. Thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Simon. We also have the honor of hosting a longtime supporter of the 183rd Fighter Wing, Mayor J. Michael Houston. Mayor Houston has a strong association with the unit since his first term as mayor from 1979 to 1987. Since beginning his present term in 2009, he has followed the unit as it has transitioned to many new missions. The mayor supported initiatives for the jet engine centralized repair facility, championed improvement projects to the entrance of the installation, and stands with us today as we begin the Air Operations area. His administration operates an aggressive Veterans Advisory Council focused on ensuring every veteran in the city is taken care of. He's also a member of the Military Affairs Executive Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Houston.
Good afternoon. To those of you that are in uniform, let me say thank you not only for your service to our country, but really what you do to add to the quality of life for everyone in the state of Illinois, and most particularly for those of us that live here in Springfield and the Central Illinois region. Today really is a great day for Springfield and Central Illinois. We are here recognizing the nearly $24 million of construction and modernization projects that have been completed. The 183rd Fighter Wing is an extremely important economic engine for our community and region, in addition to what you do in fulfilling your military mission. As someone who grew up here in the city of Springfield, it still isn't the same anytime I look up to the sky, which I do from time to time, and not seeing planes, and I was around before jet planes, and jets. Or coming out to the airport and no longer being able to watch one of the jets taxi down the runway, which seemed that every time I came out here they were doing that type of thing. But although the flying mission is no longer here, the good news is that we find ourselves with a new beginning and with a new mission for the 183rd. And on behalf of the people of Springfield and Central Illinois, we couldn't be more excited about what's happening here, or more importantly, what is in store. The 183rd facility is here in Springfield, is now a state-of-the-art operation. A state-of-the-art military needs cutting-edge facilities, and it is reassuring to know that the 183rd has the tools that are required to advance these new responsibilities. The addition of new missions for the 183rd with these new facilities bring advancements that are essential components for even more innovation down the line, which in turn only enhances the overall abilities of our airmen and women to do their job. Over the years and today, the 183rd continues to be Springfield's critical partner in both the private and the public sector endeavors. It is my goal to continue the strong relationship and work with my counterparts to bring more military missions and personnel to this facility. I am dedicated to supporting the 183rd and fostering a strong relationship which will keep both you and the city of Springfield growing. I want to take this opportunity to thank Senator Durbin for his commitment to maintaining the 183rd at Capitol Airport. Both as a congressman and a United States Senator, he has endeavored to maintain the 183rd as a state-of-the-art facility. I also want to thank Congressman Schock for his commitment and support in making these improvements happen. And while Congressman Davis has only recently assumed office, he has already showed his commitment to the 183rd. My thanks on behalf of the community to our congressional delegation, our entire delegation, for their help in reshaping and maintaining the mission of the 183rd. We are here today because of the hard work of these members of our congressional delegation and their dedication to this mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Houston. Ladies and gentlemen, the Adjutant General of Illinois, Brigadier General Daniel Crumroy.
Senator Durbin, Congressman Schock, Congressman Davis, Lieutenant Governor Simon, Mayor Houston, general officers, distinguished visitors, friends, and members of the 183rd. I want to thank all of you for your time to be here this afternoon, to take time from your very busy schedules to recognize the hard work and the excellence that you'll find here at the 183rd. Today is a benchmark in the history of the Illinois National Guard. As many of you are well aware, the 183rd has endured a complete mission change over the past several years. After the implementation of the 2005 base realignment and closure actions, some thought that the 183rd was done for, and some thought that we'd be putting a padlock on the front gate. As you can see, that was not and is not the case. Members of the 183rd met the challenge, seized the opportunity, and embraced the hard work. And it was their can-do approach that resulted in a diverse portfolio of innovative missions to augment the Air Force and to bolster our duties in supporting the state of Illinois. Our Air Operations Group has the distinct mission of augmenting the 12th Air Force in planning, executing, and sustaining air campaigns in support of the United States Southern Command. Additionally, I personally selected the 183rd to be my lead unit for the state's Joint Task Force. Should the Illinois National Guard ever be called upon by the governor to respond to any crisis, natural or man-made, it is the modern facilities that we find here at P-16 and in P-36 that will provide the platforms to handle our state and our federal missions, which only the National Guard can do. And they will handle these missions with robust communications, computers, and enhanced security. We will professionally handle the increased command, control, and computer needs of the modern Air Force, and we will protect our state, and we will defend our nation, and we will help the friends in our community with the expertise, the dedication, the hard work, and the sacrifice of the members of the 183rd. The 183rd Communications Flight desperately needed an upgrade. And the building in the P-8 is now a well-equipped hub, and it provides exceptional capability through a quantum leap in technological capacity that will be processing a constant flow of information. You know, for decades here at the 183rd, their security forces personnel were dispersed in a variety of locations across the state, and we had more defenders than we had housing. Well, now with the refurbishment of Building P-25, our security personnel have a single centralized facility that features high-tech monitoring, training, and assembly areas. And for those of you, our guests today, who choose, we will have an opportunity to tour those facilities. And I'm confident that you'll be impressed not just with the facilities, but more so with the people who work in those facilities. The 183rd has a long history of success. Our people, your citizen soldiers, are the key to ensuring that the Illinois National Guard remains the premier guard force in the nation. And these facilities provide our all-star team of airmen, NCOs, and officers the proper and appropriate tools and equipment to efficiently and successfully help our neighbors, protect our state, and defend our nation. I am personally and professionally very proud of the 183rd and all of its accomplishments. As we officially write the newest page in the history of the 183rd, we are extremely well postured to shine for the next several decades. We now have facilities and highly trained airmen with the technical knowledge to excel in this mission and new missions. I applaud our service members and our leadership for stepping up and accepting the challenge. Your National Guard airmen and these cutting-edge facilities equip Illinois not only to excel in our present missions, but to provide a solid foundation for our future in the cyber world with cyber missions. And with help, we will continue pursuit of an additional cyber mission for the 183rd that leads the nation. And that only makes sense for the nation and for the state where these airmen live, as well as economically and geographically for our communities. We do have more challenges ahead of us, and the 183rd and the Illinois National Guard will more than meet these challenges. We will continue to demonstrate our commitment to excellence. To the members of the 183rd, I thank you for your dedication to the Illinois Air National Guard. And I would remind every one of you airmen standing back there that if you want my cushy chair up here, come and get it. It's how I got there, because I was one of those folks standing in support of the speakers. And you will discover that you still, through hard work, study, and excellence, have that chair available to you. But I'm not giving it up easy. To our distinguished visitors, to all of you, our guests, thank you again for your participation.
Thank you, General Crumroy. Ladies and gentlemen, our host for today's ceremony, the commander of the 183rd Fighter Wing, Colonel Ron Paul.
Senator Durbin, Congressman Schock, Congressman Davis, Lieutenant Governor Simon, Mayor Houston, General Crumroy, distinguished guests, friends, family, thank you very much for your continued support of the 183rd. The conversion of the past few years has been exciting and challenging. Today we will officially open our upgraded facilities. Before we cut the ribbon, I'd like to thank some individuals. To our prime contractors, JM Industrial Supply, DWG and Associates, Sharp EA Cordy Joint Venture, and Facilitech. To our project managers, Dave Versalino and Al Kermitsky. To our federal, state, county, and local lawmakers. To the Springfield Chamber of Commerce, and to the Springfield Military Affairs Committee. To business owners, residents of Springfield and surrounding communities, without your outstanding support, it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to perform our mission. And last but not least, to all the individuals who worked so hard to make this ceremony happen. During the past several years, our facilities were undergoing a major facelift. Concurrently, many members were attending schools and learning new high-tech specialties. Today marks the culmination of both our construction projects and our intense initial training program. I am proud to say our facilities are ready and our people are ready to perform both our state and federal missions. General Crumroy, sir, with your permission, I request to proceed with a symbolic ribbon cutting, and we declare the 183rd Fighter Wing operationally capable.
we could have our contractors join us on the floor for a few photos, and then Brigadier General Crumroy will officially cut the ribbon.
The 183rd Fighter Wing is a premier Air National Guard unit, serving proudly in the global contingency and homeland defense roles and missions, providing our federal and state partners a ready, reliable, relevant, and respected force. The proud history of our wing dates back to 1948, when the unit started with 60 men meeting in the State Armory on Thursday nights and grew into a robust force of approximately 950 men and women who serve today. Throughout the first 60 years of existence, the 183rd Fighter Wing flew a variety of fighter aircraft, beginning with the arrival of our first F-51 Mustang in 1950 and concluding with the departure of our last assigned F-16 Fighting Falcon in 2008. The end of the flying missions merely marked the beginning of a new era for the 183rd. Due to the outstanding quality of work historically exhibited by the members of our wing, a number of new missions were assigned. The two most notable additions are the Jet Engine Centralized Repair Facility, CRF, and the Air Operations Group, AOG missions. The CRF provides major maintenance and repair for General Electric F-110 GE100 and F-110 GE129 turbofan engines. In addition to the existing T-10, T-20, C-Hush House, a T-9 test cell has been added. The T-9 is also capable of testing both types of engines serviced here. The Air Operations Group is comprised of 5 separate squadrons: Air Component Operations Squadron, Air Operations Squadron, Air Communications Squadron, Air Mobility Operations Squadron, and Air Intelligence Squadron. Each squadron plays an integral part in the aerospace operations planning, execution, and assessment for the Joint Forces Air Component Commander, JFACC. It is the primary tool used by the JFACC for commanding and executing air, space, and cyber power. The 183rd Fighter Wing has a proud heritage and has been recognized with the Air Force Outstanding Unit Award on 3 occasions. We look forward to maintaining that tradition of excellence in a new era.